Hello and welcome to Songkla Rajapat University's MOOC course on English for Communication 1. Today we're going to look at Unit 8, talking about food, one of my favourite subjects. So, what are we going to cover in this unit? We've got the same sections as always: our language in use, how we speak naturally about food. What do you want for dinner? How's your meal? Oh, this steak is tender and juicy. In grammar, we'll take a look at countable and uncountable nouns, using I like versus I would like, and a little on how we use some, any, much, many. Within vocabulary, we'll take a look at some of the words we use for things we eat, drink, and describing food. As always, there's a pre and post test where you can check your understanding. Let's get started with part 1, the language in use. So here's a little passage, someone talking about food. I love food. I'm a pretty good cook, so I experiment making all kinds of dishes from around the world. I especially like seafood and spicy dishes. I try to be healthy, so I always use a lot of fresh fruit and vegetables in my food. And I use a lot of herbs and spices, which lets me have a lot of flavour without too much fat or salt. I also enjoy eating out. I occasionally do fast food places like McDonald's or chains like MK. After all, who doesn't love a burger now and again? But I prefer to try small local restaurants. They're all unique and have their own special take on meals, each with their own individual smells and flavours, and I find that more appealing. So this person's talking about their general preferences when they cook. We'll take a look at some of the words and phrases they've used here. This word dishes, you probably come across that as in things like wash the dishes, a plate, a bowl, a dish. But we also use it to mean a meal, a type of food. So when we go to a restaurant, we ordered 4 different kinds of food, 4 dishes. So it can be used in that way. And that's why we have a seafood dish, spicy dish, seafood and spicy dishes, plural. I try to be healthy. Healthy eating is something we hear a lot about. So this person likes fresh fruit and vegetables. Fresh is a term we often use with fruit and vegetables to mean something that's ripe and perfectly ready for eating, instead of other things like frozen vegetables where they're not, they've been in a freezer or stored for a long time. In my food, we could say in my cooking, in my meals, in my dishes, I use a lot of herbs and spices. These are things we add to food to give it a lot of flavour. We use lots of these in Thailand. We'll take a little look at some a bit later. Because we want to be healthy, we don't want too much fat or salt. Fat and salt add lots of flavour to food, but as everyone knows, they're not considered to be healthy, so we want to avoid them a little bit. This person then goes on to talk about the type of restaurant he likes. I don't just like to cook and stay home. I enjoy eating out. Eating out means going to a restaurant. I occasionally do fast food places. Fast food, things like McDonald's, Burger King, KFC, where you can go and get your food straight away. In Thailand, A lot of the street vendors, the street food is basically fast food. You go, it's ready, you take it away. Or chains like MK. What we mean by chains here is a chain restaurant, a lot of restaurants that are the same. They're not quite fast food, but in every city around the world you can find an MK. So all across Thailand, you could find MK in Songkhla, in Hat Yai, in the Khon Sitamarat. It's the same restaurant. It's a chain of restaurants. After all, who doesn't love a burger now and again? McDonald's are famous for their burgers. But I prefer to try small local restaurants. So I don't want big fancy restaurants. I like local cozy places. So I'm describing lots of the restaurants in Thailand, here in Songkhla where I live, fit that description. They're all unique. So everyone's a little bit different. Unique means not the same as everyone else. And have their own special take on the meals. Special take on the meals means they do it slightly differently. And that's why we choose the restaurants we like. The Tom Yum from one place won't taste exactly the same as Tom Yum Goong from another place, because they do it slightly differently. And that's what makes it unique. They each have their own individual smells. Smell, the aroma with your nose, and flavour, the taste, what it tastes like. And we'll talk about those a little more when we look at food. And I find that more appealing. Something you like, it appeals to me, makes me want it. So I want that individual unique flavour more than a chain restaurant like McDonald's or Burger King or MK, the things that you get the same everywhere. Okay, let's move on and take a look at people talking about food. In this example, we're discussing what to eat. What should we have for dinner tonight? There's not much in the fridge. Should we just order in? No, it'll be good to use up what we have. Just get rid of the highlighter there. There's a little of the bacon left, and I know we have milk, onions and mushrooms, and some chicken breast in the freezer. Okay, Master Chef, what does that get us? I'm sure there's some pasta somewhere, so we can do a creamy chicken, bacon and mushroom pasta type thing? Like spaghetti carbonara? There isn't any cheese, and I think it's pasta bows, but similar idea. Sounds yummy. Okay, let me know if you need me to peel anything. So these people are discussing what to eat, and they mention lots of types of food. Let's take a look at a few bits of the vocabulary here as well. Where we keep our food, in the fridge. Just a shortening of the refrigerator, where we keep things cold. Or the freezer, where we store ice and store things for a longer time. So they talk about order in. Order in is when you call a place and they deliver food to your home. So I want pizza, I might call the Pizza Hut or Pizza Land and get them to bring pizza to my house rather than go to the restaurant. We order in. They decide not to do that. They've got things in the house they can eat, so they want to use up. You don't want to waste food. If you don't eat fresh food, it goes to waste. So we'll use it up. And here we have some examples of food. We've got bacon, there's some milk, onions, mushrooms, chicken. And the part of the chicken breast, that's the bit that comes from the front of the chicken rather than the legs or the wings. The person, okay, Master Chef. Master Chef is just a TV show where people cook. So he's basically saying, you're the chef, you're the one who can cook. What can we make with bacon, milk, onions, mushrooms, and chicken breast? What does that get us? So we want a little more than that. We've got some pasta. Pasta is like spaghetti or linguine, and there's lots of different shapes and types. So putting those together with pasta, we can do a creamy. Creamy is a way to describe things made with milk or cream. It gives it a creaminess. Chicken and bacon and mushroom pasta. An example of that, spaghetti carbonara, you might see on menus. Spaghetti is the long, thin, round pasta that looks like noodles. And carbonara is a creamy bacon and mushroom sauce, usually with Parmesan cheese. So he points out there isn't any cheese. You'd normally have cheese with spaghetti carbonara. And it's not spaghetti, it's pasta bows. That's one of the shapes of pasta. They look like little bows. But a similar idea, same sort of thing. Okay, sounds yummy, delicious, sounds nice, sounds all good. Okay, let's do that. I agree. Let's have something like that. An offer to help here at the end. Let me know if you need me to peel anything. Peel means take the skin off. So you're offering to help in the kitchen. Do you want me to help chop, peel, do anything? So you can use peel for peel the vegetables, peel the onions, peel the carrots, things like that. So here's another little conversation talking about the taste. We often ask, how is your food? The soup was a bit disappointing, too salty, but this steak is great, cooked perfectly. It's tender and juicy, and the pepper sauce is really rich and creamy. How's yours? I really like the sweet and sour combination, but it's a little spicy for me. What do you fancy for pudding? I've heard good things about the banoffee pie. Ooh, tempting. But I think I'll have to be hot apple pie and ice cream for me. It always reminds me of home. So here the people are talking about what the food tastes like and how it's done. Again, let's take a look at a couple of bits here. So this, how is your food? Is your food okay? Are you enjoying your meal? All basically the same thing. And the person who's being asked throws the question back at his friend. How's yours? Meaning, how is your food? So they're eating together and asking if they're enjoying your meal. There's a few different bits of feedback. So the person had soup as a starter. The soup was disappointing. Disappointing is a way to say not very good. Why was it not very good? Too much salt. It was too salty. And his main meal, he's having steak. Steak means beef in English. In Thailand, you might see people saying pork steak and things like that, but if you ask for a steak in the West, you'll get beef. So this steak is great, very good. It's cooked perfectly. There's lots of ways to cook a steak. Perfectly means exactly the way I asked for it. I wanted rare, I got rare. I wanted well done, I got well done. And he uses some adjectives to describe the food. The steak is tender and juicy. Tender means easy to chew and cut, soft. Juicy means full of liquid and flavour, rather than dry, which would be bad for a steak. And he's having pepper sauce with the steak, which is rich and creamy. Rich means lots of flavour, intense flavours, and creamy, it's made with cream or milk, and he obviously likes that. The flavour of this person's meal is sweet and sour. So sweet and sour are different flavours. Sweet like sugar, sour like lemon. Lots of Thai food combines sweet and sour. And this could be something Thai because his only complaint, it's a little spicy. Spicy means the same as hot, using lots of chili. What do you fancy for pudding? So they're going to discuss pudding. Pudding's another word for dessert or a sweet. Would you like a sweet? Would you like a dessert? Would you like a pudding? I've heard good things about their banoffee pie. So one of the menu items will be banoffee pie, banana with cream and toffee in a pie. And that sounds good to this person. Oh, tempting. If you're tempted by something, you think it's a nice idea, but he decides not. I think it'll have to be hot apple pie. So stewed apples in sugar, apples stewed in sugar, sorry, inside a pie. And put that together, hot pie with the cold ice cream. It always reminds me of home, so something this person's eaten a lot in the past. Maybe mum used to make it for him. So these are some phrases and words that you can try using when you talk about your food. Next time you go to a restaurant, try describe your meal. Is it salty, sweet? Is it hot? Is it great or disappointing? Thank you very much for watching. Look forward to discussing the next part with you.